not distributed for the equally.
Right. Right.
But productivity is increasing, right?
Output, total output.
Because what you said is infrastructure, and what is this?
Better technology, better infrastructure, more efficient laws, more capital, availability of capital flowing into the economy. So basically, we are capable of improving our productivity, but not that much.
Yeah, I can understand this slide very well, but I cannot. Next one. Okay, moving.
Next one. Okay, so this is the labor share of income, and that means that what we see here is that compared to the last one, this is what we see here, right?
Yeah.
So income is increasing a little bit, and productivity is increasing faster. Now, income part is part of.
Oh, by the way, productivity, what you're talking about, increase of GDP. The same meaning.
Yes. So normally the GDP, the gross domestic product, it's how to measure the gross domestic product, and maybe this is where I should, because I opened blockchain. This is where that. Did I open it here? Here.
Oh, it's a good one.
So,
that's right.
So gross domestic product is, and this is like the most easy way to make it visible. So basically, gross domestic product can be measured by as Keynes did it. So it's the sum of the consumption, investment, government spending, and the net imports and exports. If you put all these things together, then you have your gross domestic product.
This is cost, income, government, export minus consumption. Consumption, export minus import. Huh? Okay.
Investments,
government
spending, and export. Yeah. That's the. But basically, what we do is when we measure gross domestic product, is that we take the product, right? So whenever I buy in the convenience store, that product, but then the way that we measure gross domestic product is that we have the raw material. That raw material is sold to a manufacturer. So that manufacturer that sells its product to a wholesaler. Now, in order to avoid double counting, because if for example I buy raw materials for 100 yen, and then I add my I do my thing as a manufacturer, and I sell it for 200 yen, then the total value would be 300 yen. But so that doesn't work. So basically, I added 100 yen of value in as a manufacturer. And if the wholesaler sells it to the retailer, to the convenience store for 400 yen, that means that the producer of the raw material added 100 yen. I, as a manufacturer, added 100 yen. The wholesaler added 100 yen, and then the retailer, if it sells the product for 500 yen to me, also adds 100 yen of value. So you need to avoid double counting.
So it means, let me clarify. Okay, I'm a resource producer selling to manufacturer, manufacturer selling to the wholesaler, wholesaler selling to the retailer. So we just only count the amount, only retailers as cost, consumer cost.
That's what it boils down to. But it's very difficult to establish who is the final consumer of the product. That's why we only basically account for whatever my sales price is for whoever is active in the economy. The sales price.
Okay, let me try to clarify. Just iPhone. Okay, iPhone is actually Japanese component selling to the iPhone company, and the iPhone company. Okay, just this is sales to iPhone company, but actually iPhone is assembled in China. So this kind of component already included in the iPhone cost of material. Then in China, just only assembled the iPhone. So assembled cost is adding to the Chinese GDP, and
Yes.
component cost is calculated into Japanese GDP.
Yes, and if Japan is actually buying part of its subcomponent in China.
By the way, I have the other question. But this component is actually raw material purchased from Africa. In this case is what this purchase is what? How they going to calculate this purchase cost?
The money, the raw material that is going back to Africa.
No. I purchased raw. Okay, this Sony sell to the iPhone component, but Sony is they are raw material purchased from Africa. So how do this GDP calculating? You said the
so basically the raw materials are cost to the Japanese manufacturer, right?
Yes.
So that means that the Japanese manufacturer needs to deduct the raw material cost from its revenue. It's just like that. Well, basically like VAT. You can, as a company, you can claim back your VAT. That has to do with
so
added
it means consumer adding to the consumer, not cost. Consumer. This is manufacturer or seller's living only profit.
Yeah. So basically, this is what the manufacturer adds to the product. So basically, he gets the raw material and he converts it into a product. He sells that product, but he doesn't add the value. He's not responsible for making the raw material. He purchased that.
So it means not what you said. You said sales price, not sales price. This is just adding to GDP. It's only the profit. Otherwise, adding on sales.
Yeah. Sales price minus costs.
Right. Otherwise, it's strange. No. I'm talking about no.
It's very simple. If you are it's just like a VAT. It's called value added tax.
That's right. Value added tax will going to be added on GDP, not only the retailer's profit, but also retailer's profit, wholesaler's profit, manufacturer's profit.
It's not only profit, because actually it's not profit.
What's that? Still that I'm not clear for the base of calculation for the GDP. What you said, goods and services is okay. They produced a total. You said cost, price, or whatever go add into GDP, but it's not true.
No, it's not. So it's simpler than that. Basically, okay, if I am a company and I buy raw materials, so let's say that I am a company. I buy raw materials at 50, right? And I sell my product at 200. Then basically what I can do is that if I sell it for 200, then I need to pay tax, right? 8% tax. That's on my VAT bill. So VAT is calculated over 8% over 200, right? But I can claim back the tax that I paid over the 50 yen, right?
Mm.
Correct? So it's not my profit because I also add labor in the process, and I have, for example, capital cost in the profit that I need to deduct from my sales price, but it doesn't influence VAT.
Mm.
I can only claim back the VAT of the inputs that I bought for this, not the labor cost.
Mm.
So profit is usually much lower than sales price minus input product.
I don't understand. What do you mean?
So,
Why lower?
okay, so okay. Let's say that I produce bicycles.
Just you show this chart, right? This you can explain for this chart. Household, firm, and what this show? What this mean?
So this is how the economy works. That is the market value of all final goods and services produced within the national borders of a country for a given period of time.
Mm.
This is in a closed economy. This works in a closed economy. In an open economy, it becomes a little bit different. But basically, households, they provide factors for production. That means they provide labor, they provide capital. They give loans to firms, and they give that to the firm, and they go to work in that firm, and in exchange, they get the output of the firm. They can buy that. So that's the factors of production and the goods and the service. The households receive in return for the services. They receive wages. They receive rent. If you're the owner of the land, then you receive rent. If you investor in the company, you receive dividends, right? And the money flows back because we buy the products that the firms produce. So that the circle of the economy. Now it becomes more complicated if we include foreign countries in that. How are we going to calculate all this? Because goods and services, that they are physical things that you can touch. Factors of production, it's manpower. That's also things that you can touch. But so how are we going to measure this? That's by the expenditure approach. That's when we are actually going to do the sum of consumption, investment, government spending, and net export and minus import. So you said. So I don't really understand the idea of added value. Well, added value, we can actually basically, let's forget about added value and say, okay, basically what we are measuring is the value of all the final products that we are producing. So that everything that the consumers are buying. So in order to avoid double counting, in the supply chain, we only add the value added, but it's not so important. Actually. It's not so important. If you basically if we can agree that we only want we don't want to double count, then let's say that we only measure the final products that are being purchased by the consumer. Nothing that goes from company to company, not that they don't add value, but it would mean that we count things double.
But I'm not clear because okay, I consumer buy iPhone, but this actually iPhone, the component of this cost is imported from many places, right? Actually, iPhone cost is like $1,000, but this is not adding to the GDP. Yes, actually, the net the value, it might be $50.
Yeah, so that's added value. So let's say that I'm the importer of all the iPhones in Japan. It's not true, but let's say that I import all the iPhones in Japan, and the only thing that I do.
Wait a minute. Some cases they are not imported; they are assembled here in Japan. For example, assembled here in Japan, the sales price is.
Let's start with one example, because otherwise, if you don't understand it, we need to start simple.
Yeah, I don't understand. That's the reason I have questions.
So let's put it very, very simple. I import all the iPhones that are being sold in Japan. So the only thing that I do is that I have a few shops, and I have some staff, and for every iPhone that I buy for $1,000, I sell it for $1,200. So what do I add to the GDP in Japan?
I don't know.